Hey everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Spoiler Force Podcast. You can find more episodes on any podcasting platform such as Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure to follow Spoiler Force Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch.
This is Valerie Pierce, and you're listening to Spoiler Force Podcast.
This is a FlowGasm Beats production.
All right, so this is episode 97 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. This week's guest is an actress, voice actress, overall content creator, vlogger, traveler, gamer, manga artist. So many talents with this guest. So let me introduce her, Valerie Pierce. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
As we were saying earlier, before I started recording, I discovered you through like just the Twitter feed and recommendations through the algorithm, and because I follow Ann Yatko, shout out to Ann, I found your Twitter account and just recently became a fan of your content. So
Thank you.
I did not know that you did your own like animatic films and like besides just like the voice acting, you do like illustrations, manga, webtoons, like all of that. Did you start all of that before you became like a voice actress?
I did. Funny thing is that when I was a kid, my first anime was Tande Buren or Super Pig Girl Buren. It's like this old Japanese anime magical girl. That was like my first ever magical girl anime I've watched growing up. And I remember I was so creative. Like I didn't know cosplay was a thing at the time. So I would draw like the little pig nose on paper and color it pink and like paste it on my nose like every single day. Like I'm transforming into this like magical girl pig. And it's really weird saying it out loud. But then when Sailor Moon came out, I was like, oh, this is so much prettier. Bye. Let me like go over to being a Sailor Moon fan. And I was this was in the 90s, so I was like, I really want like to draw. I really want to like draw Sailor Moon because at the time my family, we didn't have cable or anything. I usually watched Sailor Moon at my babysitter's place. So I was like, oh my God, I really want to like look at Sailor Moon. And at the time, the 90s, I don't think there was a lot of anime stuff around. If there was, it was like super rare. And I don't think the internet was around at the time. I have no
like
idea.
AOL dial up, like
Yes.
super slow.
Yes, super slow. And I was like, man, and I didn't know printer was a thing. So I was a kid. So I would start drawing from memory, like when Sailor Moon was on. I was like, oh my God, let me draw this, let me draw this. And I don't know why, but as a kid, I was always a perfectionist. I was like, this looks a little weird. I really don't like how this turned out. So I kept practicing, and I really personally, I don't believe the saying that everyone was born an artist. I feel like we all have to work at it at some stage in our lives, and we're all new to it. And I feel like artists, voice actors, anyone pursuing the arts, they're not made. They weren't born into it. They worked hard for it. And it's a skill you have to keep practicing, like singing, modeling, acting, so many things. It takes so much work. And yeah, it's a lot of practice. And I started drawing manga, and I was so entranced with the art and the style. And it's so different compared to American animations. And as I'm sure you've seen My Art Boyfriend, it's about a young woman who is an illustration artist. And she is actually based, Verity, the character, is based on one of my friends in real life. So that story it kind of came to its own in a way. And I remember when we first met, it was definitely very similar to the relationship of Madoka and Verity. Of course, Madoka is kind of based off of me, like her energy, like, hi everyone, my name's Madoka. And Verity is very withdrawn, and that was how my friend was too. So it was a very cute story of retelling of how I met her and how our friendship is still going after all these years. And I remember a conversation we would have, like, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be so cool if like we drew our ideal boyfriends or partners and they suddenly come to life? That would be like, oh, no more horrible dates. Everything is all perfect. And that's basically how the show came to be. Sorry, I went on a tangent.
That's okay. Since you brought that up, though, with the My Art Boyfriend that premiered, because this episode won't be released until September. So, for those who are watching or listening, this is pretty much the day after the premiere. I literally just got done rewatching it again right before you hopped onto the studio here. So,
Thank you.
I actually really enjoyed it. I was not expecting the end to be as happy as it was. I'm more like realistic, so
Yes.
I thought that they were gonna be like, that's it, the magic's done. She doesn't have no more grow up type of deal.
Yeah.
But I really like that you still had the innocence to it, and the just like the youthfulness to it, to the story, because seeing your work, and even your artwork, really, it does seem like it's geared more toward the younger audience. Is that something that you've always wanted to do as well, for like just
Yeah.
drawing and telling stories to younger people?
Yeah. When I was a kid, before acting, I wanted to be a manga artist. One of my favorite manga artists is Yu Watase and Arina Tanimura. Yu Watase worked on Fushigi Yugi and countless other amazing works. Alice 19th, Sears, the Celestial Legend, or Ceres, or I'm not sure how it's pronounced. It's been so long since I read that series. And Arina Tanimura, Full Moon Osagashite, and what else? I read, there are other works by her. And the latest one is Idle Dreams. And I've been so inspired by them at a young age, and I started drawing and developing my own style. And I always wanted to draw manga for young girls and boys as well. I want it to be for everyone. Manga definitely was a escape for me, coming from a family background with a lot of family drama and stuff growing up, because Asian family, high expectations. Unfortunately, I did not make it as a doctor, but I played one on as a acting gig. I did play a doctor, and I guess I technically became a medical profession. But those lines, man, Ricky, those medical jargon lines, I was like, oh my God, I really don't think I'll survive being in the medical field. So
You did better than me, though. I'm nowhere near that.
it was so bad. I was literally studying. I was like studying those lines for a week, like these medical jargons, and I'm like my brain was like dying inside. But yeah, there was like mathematics and like statistics, and I was like, oh yeah, thank God I did not go into the medical field, because I would have wasted a lot of money. So I wanted to draw stories, and I wanted them to resonate with the audience. And I actually started drawing fan comics, as you've seen on my channel. I'm sure you've taken a look through my channel. I've started to draw fan comics, and I think that was a great way to just get better at it and develop my skills more and my storytelling. And I was honestly, I was so nervous about how the audience would receive My Art Boyfriend, because it is my first original work that I'm putting out on my channel, and it was so nerve-wracking. But I knew in my heart that this story was more of a love letter and a thank you letter to my viewers, my fans, my Valorians, and they've meant so much to me. I want to be where I am today without them, without their continuous support and making me feel like I could do anything if I put my heart into it. So the story was definitely geared more towards their liking. And I know my audience, they prefer that sweet innocence, that young love that I feel like a lot of us could resonate with. And I don't think I said this on my channel, but I'm going to give you the insight exclusive on your podcast that Dream Art Idol, it's definitely more harsh reality. And Verity and Ivan's story doesn't really end there. The story kind of like continues onward. And there's a lot of bittersweetness. There's a lot of sacrifice, death, and a lot of backstory, a lot of trauma that we don't see for Madoka because I'm sure everyone's first impression of Madoka is that she's happy-go-lucky and she's very like extrovert. She's like so much happy energy, but people don't really see that they're in Madoka's story in Dream Art Idol. It's more sad. Like she hides a lot of her pain inside of her, and her way to cope is pretending that life is okay. And I feel like in a society where we have so much expectations, especially in Asian culture, where I'm sure you would understand, there's so much
Yes.
high expectations from family members, and when you don't meet those expectations, or if you're like an older sibling and something happens to your younger sibling and it's out of your control, you feel that guilt. And not going to dive any more into it, but Madoka's story, it's quite deep. And I'm so excited to share that in the future. But right now, I want people to enjoy the sweet fairy tale, innocent love story. But Celine, I read some comments about Celine, and people were was like, oh my God, an evil fairy godmother. Oh my gosh, what's going on? She's so devious. And that's what I love about her. And a lot of the stories I've made, my original works, kind of like all connects in some shape and form. Because Celine, her origin story came from one of my older works in Aura University. She's from like this magical dimension fairy university, and it's half fairies, half angels and stuff. So it's like a hybrid. Because in Chinese culture, when we see fairies, we call them earth angels, or I think they're called like earth angels or little angels. So that's where it kind of inspired the hybrid that she's half fairy, half angel, as you see her design with her like fairy wings, but then there's like there's angel wings and fairy wings mixed in. So it's to showcase that she's a hybrid and she's like a new kind of mythical being. I'm not sure if anyone noticed that she's actually a mythical being, but yes.
Now, is this? I guess all your stories is it all contained in one universe? Then is that what you're aiming for?
I've always liked that idea. I kind of like how everything connects in my universe, and I feel like there's a connection. And personally, for me, when I read a story like another alternate universe and somehow everything connects, I really, really like that kind of universe. It feels very nostalgic and safe. And I'm excited to explore that. I'm not too sure how far I want to continue drawing comics because my art boyfriend took a long, long time. It took almost 10 months, I would say. I had to storyboard, script writing, I had to adjust the characters and the vision and the scenery, the setting. And it's easy to write out a script, but then you have to imagine, like, okay, how would I place Ivan and Verity or these characters in a scenario where the audience could witness that moment between them? And I watched a lot of K-drama, of course, so this was a very K-drama-esque kind of vibe to it, but my art boyfriend is definitely the prequel to Dream Art Idol Dream Art Idol is like the main story. I started on that back in 2019, and I thought, I think I should give this, I feel like I should give this story a backstory of how it all came to be. Because in Dream Art Idol, we see Madoka going inside a library, meeting Momo, and she becomes this magical girl, and everything seems all great. But it's really very much to the point in her life where it's kind of loosely based on my situation at the time, where I was wondering, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? Drawing comics and being a YouTuber? What else do I want to do? What can I pursue that I've always wanted to pursue? And it's like that, what if? Like, I wish I'd done something different. Maybe my life would have been different. And I feel like a lot of people, especially in their late teens, or maybe not late teens, but like late 20s, early 30s, or anywhere in their later life where they're like, man, I wish I could have done that. But I really want my stories to resonate with people of all ages. And My Art Boyfriend is definitely geared towards the younger audience where there's still innocence and wonder in that, and that innocent romance and fairy tale universe. But in Dream Art Idol, it's where people who lived through life, saw disappointments, been disappointed, and it's more realistic and more angsty. I feel not really angsty, but it's really relatable to a lot of people, and that's what I'm hoping to aim. But I'm thinking about working on Dream Art Idol in 2022 because I'm still settling everything in my home, and I'm moving to LA permanently. I had to move back because pandemic,
Yeah.
always fun. So I am preparing everything and moving back down to LA, and I just want to feel settled in a bit before I jump back into it because it's just a lot of work. Because after working on My Art Boyfriend, it made me realize that maybe I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, but I wouldn't mind doing it casually, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's great to have multiple projects, even though some may not be completed, or even
Mm,
if you're in the middle of one, because it keeps your mind running all the time. Your imagination doesn't stop, and it doesn't
mhm.
seem like you're constantly um, yearning for something new when you have multiple projects. It keeps, at least for me, I see it as it keeps like someone busy with a lot of that
Mhm.
stuff. But I think it's great that you brought up that too, with the whole aspect of Dream Art Idol, because like you said with Madoka's character, she is older. I've read, I believe there's only like 5 or 6 chapters, right?
You actually read it?
Yeah, actually, yeah,
Oh
I
my
read
God, thank you. Thank you
it.
so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I had to read it because after after watching My Art Boyfriend, I was like, all right, I got to see what's what's Madoka's backstory, because again, like I said, I'm new to your content. So
mm,
after looking at your website and seeing the artwork that you've done, and looking at what you've created, I just kind of just looked at it, and then I got really interested into that whole universe type of story, because I like you. I like when stories connect like that. I'm a huge comic book fan. When it
mm,
comes to like multiverses, and like, for example, like superheroes and all that, they're all under one umbrella. So when I read the part towards, I believe it's towards the most, was it chapter 5, I think, where
yeah.
Madoka goes and tries to apply for the idol position, or the
Mm,
audition, and
yeah.
said that she didn't meet the age requirement. And so I'm like, okay, I mean, that's not towards me. I don't ever want to be an idol or anything, but like the whole aspect of just trying to pursue something, especially in the arts, at an
Yeah.
older age, and that I can definitely resonate with that, being in my late 20s now, and even trying to do this
Yeah.
podcasting stuff, because a lot of the content creators, and a lot of the stuff that's coming out now, it's definitely geared towards more of a younger audience. And
Yeah.
if you don't have, I guess, the hip or the modern or the the it factor for what it is now, then it's kind of like
Mm.
you feel kind of left behind. But
Yeah.
I think it's great that for someone like you to still pursue your uh your dreams in doing like something like the arts or voice acting or even you know drawing manga. I think it's still great that you're still pursuing that, because I think that if, from my experience, like I think it just if we stopped doing that, there's really no purpose, because as a creative person we have to like let this out of our system, or else we go crazy.
Yes, definitely so. And I'm actually reworking the first few chapters of it, like replacing scenes, I guess, and just redesigning it a tiny bit, but the story is still consistent. I'm like reworking it. And yeah, definitely the story is set a few years after Verity and Ivan story ends, and Madoka is like not really happy in her life, and she felt like she missed out a lot. And I feel like when we were at her age, or anyone really, we're like, wow, life is endless with possibilities. Once we hit our 20s, we're like, yeah, we have plenty of time to pursue it. But a lot of people don't realize that time is so unforgiving. Time is so unforgiving. And if we keep pushing back what we our dreams, if we keep pushing them back, it's eventually gonna catch up to us. And then we look back, and then 5, 10 years has already passed, and everyone has moved on. Some of your friends have kids, families of their own. Other people have like corporate jobs, and you're like stuck in the middle, like, wow, so this is my life. So I definitely want the story to resonate with people who are a bit older or in their mid 20s, or who can resonate with that. And of course, I did think about my following and my viewers who have been there with me for a very long time, especially people who watch my content with Miraculous Ladybug. I know I have a lot of viewers who are young, so I guess that story is definitely my gift to them as a thank you for still watching me and supporting me. And I even named the city that all these characters are living in Valorian City, because I call my fans Valorians, because I feel like there's a special bond between us. And I named the city after them, because I feel like without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. And it's also thanks to them that I got into voice acting. And it took me a while to, I was definitely at that mindset where Madoka is like, man, I wish I pursued this earlier, like acting. Maybe my life would have been different or something. But I feel like everything happens for a reason. And I'm still pursuing voice acting. I've been training, practicing, getting coached, and really just taking it more seriously. And I'm learning along the way. I feel like as actors, we can never stop learning. As artists, as creatives, we can never stop learning. And it's definitely more where I have to continue to practice and hone my skills. And I did surprise people who didn't think I could do voice acting. And that's when I get into my serious mode. Like when I'm serious, I go full force. I give it everything I got, 1,000%. And people were like, "Oh, wow!" Like they were very surprised. So I'm excited to showcase my range in my voiceover demo reels, which I'm working on. And I feel like I can say I'm a voice actor as many times until the sun goes down, but I personally feel like people won't believe my potential until I can show them some form of proof with a demo reel, like, hey, these are my skills right now. I can only get better from here, but I got this.
Is that what kind of inspired the whole animatic like movies and videos that's on your YouTube page? Because I know you do like a lot of like the storytelling, which we'll get into later, but like you do like the drawn out storytelling, or even like the Genshin comic voiceovers. Is that what kind of inspired that too?
Uh, Actually, I've always wanted to do, well, the animatic is thanks to, comics and being dubbed, like comic dubs on YouTube. It's huge. So it's definitely more like a greeting and a nostalgic thank you in a way, because I know my viewers are so used to my comic dubs and animatics and stuff. I thought I want to do something special. So that's why each panel of my art boyfriend was made with so much love and passion and aesthetic and magicalness and everything that I love. And my viewers and fans and Valorians know of me to be all in each scene. And I hope that resonates well with the viewers and what my content and what I'm about as an artist.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I really enjoy what you bring to the just voicing over like the again like voicing over your comic panels and all that, because I really enjoyed the more comedic side of it, like when you draw like the chibi ish like the more goofier
Mhm.
panels. I really enjoyed that. I thought
Yeah.
that was really cool that you're able to do both like something comedic like that and then come back to drawing it more serious when it came to like the characters for Madoka or even Ivan or the other protagonists as well. And seeing how much effort you put into just all of your content, are there any times where you feel like it's a bit challenging or difficult? Like, are there any moments where you feel like you can't do any of this sort of content because you're doing so much at once?
Yes. During my whole process of drawing my art boyfriend and the panels, I've been going to my friends like, what have I gotten myself into? But I really, really want to like give them my all. And there were times where I wanted to give up, but I said no. It won't be fair to me, and it definitely won't be fair to everyone who believed in my vision and the fans and viewers and Valorians who are there with me since the very beginning. And I really had to push forward, and it was hard. I would draw almost like 12 hours a day coloring, and the only thing that kept me sane was listening to podcasts, um, watching movies, and just not like watching, just like listening and just like sketching and drawing. And it was a lot of work. And I will I will never forget when Yu Watase was answering fan questions on Twitter. And I told her in English, I think she used a translation machine, that she inspired me to be a manga artist at a very young age. And she was like, thank you, but I would not recommend this career to anyone. And I was like, wow, the queen has spoken. Like, she knew what she was talking about, or they knew what they were talking about. Because I believe they are identifying as non-binary. So yeah, so sorry for that. I just remembered. My brain is all over the place, so now I'm remembering. Oh yeah, I read somewhere that she identifies non-binary. So they told me this, and I was like, wow, they were right. They were right. And I don't think I shared this with anyone, or I don't think anyone knew, but I do have a non-binary character in Dream Art Idol, and I feel like I do notice that there aren't many characters like introverts who are leads in a story. Because, a lot of animes, there are usually the protagonist is very outgoing, extroverts, or, a little bit of a mixture or both, but never really a solid like introvert where people could relate on a deeper level, if that makes sense. And Dreamer Idol has more of a variety of people through all walks of life, such as LGBTQ. And I do have a main character who is non-binary, which I feel like will be a good representation to my friends who are who identifies non-binary. So I definitely want to be more open. I want to be the artist that explores those topics and be more inclusive with everyone.
Yeah, that's actually like with a lot of comic books nowadays, being more diverse or just creating characters or even reimagining characters
Mm,
to so that way it'll include other people that of like different communities or backgrounds to feel more inclusive. Because I know recently they or for at least for DC Comics they kind of hinted at the fact I may be wrong, but they hinted at the fact that Timothy Drake or the third Robin was bisexual, and you know
mm,
that there's a comedian I follow. His name's Patrick Cloud. He talks about like how having characters like this surprising people shouldn't be a big deal because it's a way to include other people in to the comic book world, or to that way people who do feel left out or introverted or feel introverted, or like it's just kind of like a safe place for these people who want to be reading comics and identifying characters that are similar to them. And
exactly.
like again with this whole DC Comics ordeal, like to me it's just if you're gonna make the character like that, then just do it, because it doesn't matter. You're like anyone who's someone's gonna get mad regardless. So
Mm,
I see it as if it's a way to branch out to other people for themselves to make them seem more comfortable, to make them more comfortable, or to just be able to identify something, then just go for it. And
exactly.
I think that especially with today's age, with like conventions being hot, and like the whole
Mm,
Marvel Cinematic Universe, and even anime
mm,
being more mainstream, I can definitely see changes in a lot of these, whether it's shows or comic books or manga or just even art itself, like just drawings and sketches. Like there's different outlets for everyone, and I think that's what made me like anime a lot more. Not saying that
mhm.
comic books or Western comics don't include people, but I feel like with anime and manga, there's more genres to that kind of lifestyle, or to multiple or different lifestyles.
More
Like
variety.
exactly, because like one of
Hmm.
my favorites is I talk about this on my live streams a lot when I stream on Twitch and stuff. Like one topic I love I wish I could talk about with someone is have you watched or read anything about Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid?
Yes, I actually watched the anime and I
Yeah.
thought it was so cute. And I was like, oh, some girl love happening in there.
you know it, for me as a male viewer, like I didn't even see it like that. I didn't like I just loved the whole familial aspect of it, and how like just how slice of life and how positive it was. And usually I don't really read into like the like the yuri or type of genre when it comes to like, manga or anime. But Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid was one that I was instantly hooked on, based on just the storytelling, the characters, how just positive it was.
Very
And
wholesome.
yeah,
Very, very
very.
wholesome. Yeah.
And I absolutely love this series. I actually want to do an episode about just that itself one day, because there's not a lot of people that I can go up to and like, hey, you want to talk about Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid?
Yeah, like I thought it was so cute, but like the maid kept giving a piece of her dragon tail and it's so toxic. And she was like, I can't eat this. I will die. And I guess like for dragons is like intimacy. Like if you eat a part of them or something, I don't know. It's like that next level of intimacy. But they did it in a way where it's not creepy. It's like comedic. And it's very like I guess very wholesome. It's just a very wholesome series. And I love how the maid is like obsessed with Miss Kobayashi. And Miss Kobayashi is definitely where she's like the pillar of stability, I guess, for a lot of these characters.
Yeah, I absolutely adore this series, and with especially with the second season that's still ongoing, I really enjoy just again just the storytelling of it, and Kyoto Animation, they do such a fantastic job. Want a simpler way to record both video and audio podcasts? Then sign up with StreamYard. StreamYard is the perfect program to create podcasts, host live streams, and even do video calls. There are many tools to help you create and design your own personal studio. You can screen share, read live comments, and stream to multiple destinations such as Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can also download your video and audio recordings after each session. Follow the link in the description, and once you sign up with the basic or pro plan, you'll earn a $10 credit to use for StreamYard. Do you want to start your own podcast? Then sign up with Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout has helped hundreds of thousands of users to begin their podcasting journey. With easy-to-use tools, you can effectively get your podcast onto many platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and more. You can view stats, create audio clips, and even have your own podcasting website. Buzzsprout also offers ideas, tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you improve your podcast. Follow the link below, and once you sign up, you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card. This will let Buzzsprout know that I sent you and also support Spoiler Force Podcast. Happy podcasting. If you're into anime, manga, or anything that's from Japan, Otaku Detroit is the place for you. Located at 513 West, 11 Mile Road in Madison Heights, Michigan, you can find a variety of manga books, anime figures, collectibles, posters, snacks, and even authentic items from Japan. Stop on by to see store owner Matt and let him know Spoiler Force sent you. Now, to kind of just bring it back to you though, with voice acting, Valerie, do you find it besides like the challenges of just voice acting, but are there any, like, I guess, shows or any type of roles that you're trying to land on, or is it just whatever comes to you first?
Oh, I think any actor, like their dream is to be in something that they love so much. For me, I think, let's see. Oh, I don't think I publicly, well, I think I did publicly say this, of how I got into acting, but I don't think people on YouTube know. But I did mention this a few times on Twitter that the first thing that got me into acting was Skip Beat. And I was reading it, and I think at the time I was like the same age as Kyoko Mogami, and I related to her a lot, especially with her family situations, because she came from a very broken family, and I resonate a lot with that, with her character and how she loves fairy tales, she loves fairies, and I was like, oh my god, I love fairies too. I'm like so obsessed. And I love fairy tales just as much as she does. So I saw a lot of myself in that character. I resonated with that character. And she got me interested in acting. And I was like, you know what? Let me give this a try. So I started with theater. Interesting. But it wasn't really where it's like, aha, this is it for me. So I tried on camera acting. And I studied that, and I was like, oh my God, I love this. I really, really love this. And then I didn't get into voice acting until much later. So when I started YouTube and I was doing some videos about Miraculous, I was reached out by Anne, Pied Piper Inc., who was doing the English dub for Skip Beat. And I was like, oh my God. I was so excited. Like, she asked me to work as PR for the series. And I was like, yes, I'll do it for free. You don't need to pay me. Yes, I love this. This is like my everything. And I flew to LA and I met with Mela Lee and I met a lot of the cast. I met Erica Lindbeck when she was still starting out at the time, but she was, oh my God, amazing actor. Oh my gosh, I cannot say how amazing she is. Like, she could act circles around anyone. She is so good. Like, all the success, like, I knew she was gonna blow up eventually, and she did. And I'm so proud of her, and she's so talented, so real, and I can't stop gushing about her. Like, I learned so much just interacting with her and talking with her, and she's such an inspiration. And I think we were on break, me and the director, we were talking about like Pokemon Go at the time, because Pokemon Go was like huge in 2016. And they asked me what I was doing on YouTube, and I was like, oh, I'm just doing, fan comic dubs, and I do a really good mean girl voice. And they're like, oh, show it to me. And I was like, and I did this voice, this exact character. Oh my God, what are you wearing? Oh my gosh, that is so last season. My daddy will be so embarrassed if I wore something like that. And he was laughing so hard, so hard. I made such an impression on him, I think, that he allowed me, with no voiceover experience besides the fan stuff I did, to be in an episode of Skippy. So I basically did Walla, and I did like background voices, and I did 2 scenes. And man, Ricky, that feeling when you feel like, whoa, this is so cool. I want to do this forever. I want to go in there and just voice characters. And that is how I really dove into voice acting, like that feeling. And it felt so right. It felt so magical. And I wanted to do it for real, but I didn't know how to start. And I thought, you know what, maybe I'm not that great. I just got lucky. And I did get lucky in that scenario. And the saying goes is that you have to prepare for that moment when luck comes your way. You have to be ready. And luckily I was ready, and I had a character that I was developing that made the director laugh, and he was amused by it. So it was luck meeting opportunity, and I got my first taste, and my first anime credit was Skippy, and it was my first anime that got me into acting, and the first anime that got me into voice acting. So it literally came full circle. So that series will always be so special to me. But other stuff I would love to be in would be Final Fantasy. I love Final Fantasy. I love the world. I love the lores. I love the characters. They just have so much depth with each character in the story.
Is there oh, sorry. Is there like a favorite Final Fantasy series that you have?
I'm so glad you asked me that. Thank you, Ricky. Yes. So my first Final Fantasy was the series that got me interested in the entertainment world. And my mom came back from China. She went on a family trip, and she brought a DVD of Final Fantasy X2, like the cutscene movie version, and it's all like in Mandarin and stuff. And I was like, what is going on? I don't understand Mandarin. And I was watching it, and the opening scene where, excuse me, but do you know Final Fantasy X2, X7? Do you know those titles?
Yes.
Yeah, so you know.
I'm very familiar with this.
Yeah,
I wanted, before I let you continue, what I want to say, there was among, so like at the soccer tournaments that a lot of my community host, there was something similar to that. Instead of 10-2, it was 10 that they dubbed, and they grabbed all the cutscenes and redubbed it. As a kid, I had my mom buy it. I still have it on VHS.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm just like, oh my God, when you brought that up, all the memories just came back of that too.
Yes, you're like the bootleg version. You're like, oh my God. Yes,
Yeah,
so
oh my God.
I watched it, and that scene where Yuna, well, LeBlanc pretending to be Yuna, was doing performing Real Emotion, and Kotakumi's voice popped in, her sultry voice, her like that sultriness, and I was so entranced. And I actually wanted to be a singer like that, but of course I'm not that musically gifted. I did do some songs later on, but I still want to cover that song, Real Emotion. That was a bop, man. That was a bop. And I was like, oh,
10-2, the music in that game is by far one of my favorites.
It's
like,
amazing. 1,000 Words, my
oh my
anthem.
God, I love that song. I love that song.
Beautiful.
I think I was still in grade school, and I
Mm.
would constantly. You can go to Luca in the game and rewatch the cutscenes. And as a kid, I would constantly always rewatch it because I loved the animation. I and the 10 series, 10, 10-2 is by far my favorite because
Yes, mine too. Like,
and
like doesn't matter what anyone says. 10 and
yeah,
10 too. That is my thing.
yeah,
That is my ish. That is my everything. I swear by it. I love it. I
yeah,
love Final Fantasy 7, but Final Fantasy 10 and 10 too. That was
yeah.
good for me. I love it.
Like 7 and 8 were the games that my older cousins played. So I never really got to experience it and enjoy
Mm.
it. And so 10 being like the for me being the first Final Fantasy that I beat on my own, with no help, no strategy guide. Um
Oh crap.
yeah,
10
so
was so hard. 10 was so hard, man. It was so
so
hard. I needed the strategy guide. I have so much respect for you just beating without the guy. That's hardcore.
I and just like, I think with 10-2, or at least with 10 and 10-2, like what made it so unique was that it was the first Final Fantasy with voiceover and acting and
Mm.
CGI cuts like that. And I don't know, I just got really hooked onto the story. So like just seeing do you say Titus or Tidus for the main
I
character?
I know. Oh my gosh, the controversy. Okay, so I prefer Titus because like the tide, the waves, but apparently it's Titus.
That's
And
what
I
I
was like,
say too.
it's like tedious. Is he tedious or something? Because in my head, every someone said Titus, I was like, but Titus sounds so much better. Like he's the tide because he's like his aesthetic is all
He's a blitzball player. He lives by
yes.
the water. It makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's like the tide, like Titus. And I was like, that sounds like a bad. I'm not sure if I could say this word, but
Yeah, you
it has
can say it.
this badass name. I was like, yes, I love Tidus and Yuna. But when they said Tidus, I'm like, oh, I was so broken inside. I was so broken. But you know what, Ricky? Forever Tidus forever.
Yes, Titus gang. That's exactly what it
Did you
should
hear
be.
about X3? Did you get like the special edition one where
Yeah,
it was
I
for the
bought it on.
PS3?
Yeah,
Yeah, back
I bought
then.
it on Steam, and I had to I, I had to buy it because with that extra ending that they had,
Oh my
um,
gosh, that drama
and
CD that screwed me up. And apparently it tied in with a novel that was really bad and that
I
just killed it for me.
I had to go back and reread that novel again. But
Oh, did
what's
you
your
read it?
not all of it? It's been years, so or not
Mm.
years, but it's been a while since I've read that novel. I have to go back. It's actually
Did
bookmarked
you
in my
read it?
phone.
Did you read
Uh,
it in Japanese or the translation, the English translation?
I'm reading it in translation.
Okay,
But
because I read it too.
no, do you follow Final Fantasy Union on YouTube? Like they're like Final Fantasy podcasters too, and their
Mm.
videos help sum that up. So I watched their video first, and then I started reading it on my own. But that twist at the end with Titus and Yuna,
Yeah.
how
No
did you feel about
spoilers.
that?
There's
Because
like spoilers alert. If everyone does not know what we're doing, click fast forward. This is a moment between me and Ricky. We're having a moment at Final Fantasy X2 and the epilogue moment. We're having a moment. So if you don't like spoilers, just stop right here and
and just
Ricky
skip
will
forward.
skip forward. But yeah, oh my gosh.
With them not being
So
together, like, what's your thoughts
yeah,
on that?
so here's the thing. I thought for years, like, why do I love the series so much? Like, why is this so special besides so many factors? And the theme is about forgiveness and letting go. Like letting go. Like I didn't realize it until like a few years ago, actually. Like I just realized I was like, oh my God, this series is basically about letting the past go and moving on. And I felt bad because I really want Yuna and Titus to be together. So I chose them to be together. I mean, it was pretty traumatic for Yuna. Like the boy she loves turns out to be he's just a dream. And I it's so heavy about just moving on. And there's so many implications through characters telling Yuna to just move on and she wanna move on. And when you're young, you of course like you don't want to move on. You want to like this must be it. This must be a happy ending and stuff. And when they wrote that, I didn't like it at first, but then it was like, oh, they're really punching in. Girl, move on, let it go. He ain't real. And I was just, don't kill my ship, man. Don't kill my ship. But I was just a little taken aback. But the Oren, Oren and his daughter, I was kind of like, okay, but how did that happen? I need to know the
I don't think
tea.
I don't think that's his daughter.
I think
Just
she's confused.
yeah, I don't believe so because he in the game he's dead.
Yeah, like I
So
mean, maybe when he was like, I don't know, when he was young, he got killed or something, and he had a kid. But wouldn't
but
that
she would
make,
be so much older though. She would be
yeah,
older or just as old as Yuna about that age.
or
So
like maybe a few years younger? Because Yuna was like 7, and maybe she was still a baby. Who knows? I have no idea. But I
I
was
don't
like,
I
what's
didn't
going
really like
on?
that
It was kind of weird.
detail. Yeah, it was weird. But you know, with Yuna and Tidus though, I think a lot of fans get the implications wrong where like because when you
Mm,
play 10, it's through the eyes of Tidus and you know, as I played through this game multiple times and watched
same.
the cutscenes and all that, I kind of just realized that maybe you know instead of Titus being the main character, I think it's really about Yuna's story
It
and
is.
and
And
how Yuna reacts to what
mm,
her whole entire not just her what happened in the game, so like just the entire walkthrough of her meeting Titus and then learning how to grow, and then with 10-2 learning, like you said, learning how to let go.
yeah,
And I
and
think
she's exploring with her friends and everything. And like you see these scenes, and she's like living life. And but I really did not like how she had so much responsibility as High Summoner who saved us all. And then little do we know, in that little book, she reset everything. So she kind of, here we go again, just here we go again. But that I would love, my goal, I would love to be in 10-2. I mean, not 10-2, 10-3. Somehow that would be so cool. That would be the dream.
if Square Enix ever does it though, that's the thing.
But Lynn and Shunyan's story, that got me. Oh my
Oh
gosh,
man,
Lynn and story. Okay, so this was my dream. I was a kid when I was playing Final Fantasy X too, and I was like, oh my god, I really want to be like beautiful and talented like Lynn someday. So I want to grow up to be like as beautiful and as talented as Lynn. But I mean, here I am.
I think their story was so tragic, and especially when you see
Yeah.
the flashbacks and the cutscene for 1,000 words, like I had like I bought the 10-2 or my mom bought me the 10-2 collector's
Mm,
edition way back, and so it came with like an art book, a special covered strategy guide. I had the pain cover on there,
mhm,
and you know just seeing how different their story was compared to like Titus and Yuna, and
mm.
it made it just seem more not so I don't want to say dark, but it is definitely more like a more sort of like a more mature love
Yeah.
story versus like the happy and youthful of like Titus and you like Glenn and Shuyin went through some shit.
Yeah, but think about it this way. Shunyan, the whole basis of his story is not letting go because he
Yep.
couldn't let that go. And it's like I just realized I was like, oh my God, this story is literally about Shunyan, who looks like Titus, who can't let go of the past. And the story is about, okay, do you want to let go or you want to, you know, have a little happiness? And you know what? I feel like Yuna deserves a little happiness. Like, cut this girl some slack. She saved the whole world and she's doing all these duties. Can't she just have the love of her life at least? Because I feel like she did so much and gave up so much. I feel like she should have some bit of happiness. But then I guess her and Verily could have been together, I guess. But
That was
that's really,
terrible. I didn't like
yeah.
that. I thought what's funny though was Gipple
Mm.
and Riku, like how
They dated, and I was
yeah.
like, oh, what's the tea, sis? What's the tea? How did that go?
I thought that was great. Like I like you know small little details like that, but I think for Yuna, just the whole aspect of like Yuna growing and just having that much pressure on her to save the world multiple times and to just have all this duty aspect behind her. I think
Mm,
for her character, at least from what I see, I just did not like it. I kind of wished, like you said, I kind of wish they cut her some slack. But at the same time though, like I felt like it's good character development for her because like did you get all the endings for 10-2? Because like there was the
I did.
sad ending, perfect ending, and then like the last scene where her and
Oh, I
Tidus are together.
I can't get the sad ending. I got the normal ending where she moved on without him. The good ending where they're together, and then the perfect ending where they're like standing together and she's making
Yeah.
sure he's real and stuff. And I don't know, Square Enix be pulling some stuff with my heartstrings. I was like, why you guys got to do this to me with the epilogue and this dramacy and this book? So yeah, 10-2 was what started it all, I guess. But yeah, definitely Final Fantasy, Pokemon, Digimon. Oh, I love Digimon. Digimon, Genshin Impact, of course, Genshin Impact. So, and a lot of other things, but I'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know where this journey may take me because I guess I have like a certain voice type, and my voice is so, as they say, unique, and it's hard to find a place for me, I guess. And I think the biggest thing that I worry about is maybe there's no place for me because my voice is so specific. People could tell, oh my gosh, that's Valerie Pierce. And, like I'm not, I don't blend in, I guess. And I think that's another thing that I'm trying to discover. And maybe like along the way, since I'm still pretty new to VO professionally, I will find my place and where I shine in the grand scheme of things, like where I shine the most and which archetype, what characters I could do, because I wish I could do those innocent, magical girl characters that are super duper high pitched, but I cannot for the life of me can go that high and give a believable performance. Madoka's voice is as high as I can go, and even then she sounds older and does not sound 14. So I feel like that is where I'm a little nervous about, but we'll see. We'll see.
I think with the entertainment industry itself, I think there's I believe there's room for everyone. I think it's all about, it sounds so cliche to say this, but I think everyone has like a certain time and place to be at. And I think for you, I think with the work you put in, Valerie, I think it'll pay off. I absolutely enjoy your work and just being a new fan to your content.
Thank you.
Even if just like if it's not voice acting or not just acting in general, there's so many different avenues. Like in the intro, I was saying, you have so many different talents and different things when it comes to like just there's always gaming and streaming. There's what else was there? You did the vlogging and all the traveling, which I enjoyed that. And I think you're probably I think something's good. Something good is going to happen for you, and I believe that. So
Thank you, Ricky.
yeah, because on this podcast, I like to just share more, positivity and creativity because I know what it's like to, to work hard for something and feel like it doesn't pay off, or and to just want something so badly and just be turned down by it. And especially coming from an Asian household or background, like doing this kind of stuff is not
ideal for the Asian
yeah.
Asian family. Yeah, I get that. But Ricky, I just want to my biggest advice or my thing I would say to you is that keep doing it, man. Keep doing it. And I've been doing YouTube for years. And when I reconnected with my family this year after so long, I haven't spoken to them and they saw how successful I've become. They're like, that's when they're like, okay, this is why she did what she did and why she's so persistent in it. And Ricky, I feel like just keep going, dude. I mean, your setup is so professional, a lot professional than I've ever seen. And I feel like you know what you want and know what you do. Just keep going at it because you never know where it's going to take you. Just
Thank
keep
you so
striving.
much.
Yeah, you got this. And,
Yeah.
you know, as I say, you only live once. Might as well, when you're 80 years old, you can say, man, that was fun. I did all the things I wanted to do. I tried everything I wanted to do.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
content.
that's one thing with like this podcast that's like
Mm,
one thing I, you know, because for me, like I there were so many different avenues that I wanted to pursue, and whether it was like trying to be a song cover artist or a vlogger or like some sort of internet personality, or even like trying to do sports when I was younger, I was always just like stopped, or like I always hit a wall at some point. And with podcasting, being it having it being so big what it is now, and taking these opportunities and learning how to do this, you know, I feel that this is something that I know that I can probably pursue and succeed in, versus like, because I honestly with this I've never dabbled with like this, or never like put so much time into doing something like this in a long time. And you know, as we were saying, you know, with the whole Asian family aspect, it's just like,
mhm.
I think I spoke with Anne about this too. And you know, there's like, you know, Asian parents want a safety net. They want to make sure like you can, if things don't work out, that you can
Yeah.
fall back on something. But I don't know, for me, I'm more of like I would rather just risk it all, and within the next 20 to 25 years look back like, I'm glad I didn't, at least like, even if I don't make it, I want to be able to say like, I'm glad I did it, you know, and not
Yeah.
regret it. And so and what I'm trying to say for you, Valerie, is like, I hope, you know, that you continue to pursue your career as well. I think again, I believe that there's a role out there for you that you're gonna get, that's gonna fit perfectly for your archetype, and that way
I hope so.
you don't have to try too hard and strain your voice for a character that you know that you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. Well, Madoka was definitely a lot of fun, and she wasn't hard. She was very easy to do, but it's like, I guess people would want something different, I guess. And I definitely can't go like super duper high, like, yeah, I can go like super duper high pitch squeak. Yeah, no, probably not. But there are definitely actors who do a very, very good job doing those voices. And I think I just got to find my own comfortability. And I'm excited to see what happens the next few years. And who knows, maybe I'll be back on this podcast and we can look back and we can just chat like, hey, remember we talked about this? And then it's like, what has changed since then? But yeah, I really am so thankful to be a part of so many amazing things and gotten so many amazing opportunities over the years. And again, thank you for having me on this podcast. I feel like it's great to talk to another fellow creator who understands the Asian culture, the pressure that we are put into by cultural expectations, society, and even family expectations. And I feel like nowadays, where we are seeing so many Asian and API and PGM talent just emerging and being in more things that growing up we don't really see that much, and we didn't see a lot of people like, yeah, maybe Stephanie Shea was in there every now and then, but getting to see Emmy Lowe, Alex Lee, Alan Lee, and just so many amazing people in this industry just really being in shows and being in content and everything and commercials makes me feel like there is a place for us, because for a long time I feel like, oh, unless I'm super duper lucky and amazing like Michelle Phan, then maybe I could do that too someday. Maybe it's like we have high expectations for ourselves, and it's getting better. And I'm glad there are more opportunities for people who are PGM to be doing more of those stuff. Sorry, I'm like rambling, but I'm
No, it's
just
okay.
excited to see where you go. I'm so excited to see what you'll be doing in the next few years. And I feel like you are doing great with what you're doing, and it's so much fun. And I can't wait to see what life has in store for you.
Thank you so much, Valerie. You know, time has flown by so quickly with our conversation, and I would really love to have you back on the podcast again. Again, to just even update the listeners and
Yeah,
followers as
would
well.
love to.
But before we do sign off and end this episode, can you let the new viewers or new listeners know where they can contact you or find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, just Valerie Pierce, or if you want to chat with me, talk with me, definitely on Twitter at Valerie Pierce. And I'm on Instagram at Valerie Pierce, and I have an art account at Madoka.
Perfect. I'll have all the links and your website link in the show notes and description of the video here once it's uploaded. But yeah, Valerie, I can't believe I still can't believe the hour flew by this quick. I really
So
enjoyed
much
talking with
fun.
you. Just to be able to relate to you as a creator as well, and I'm learning myself. I'm trying to get myself more to be able to speak more on the fly versus like always looking at my notes for topics. But this episode I had so much fun, and I can't wait to talk to you
Same.
again. But yeah, good luck on your journey as being voice acting, and even manga illustrations. I really enjoyed your overall content, and you did a fantastic job with My Art Boyfriend, and I really love to see more of your universe or your Valorian universe there.
Yes.
So after reading Dream Art Idol for what the chapters you have so far, I'm looking forward to more of the chapters.
More to come. I literally written scripts like all the way to chapter 30, so it's there, but I'm just fine tuning everything. And of course, I got to find voice actors to fit the roles I have in mind. And I am definitely going to be on the PGM list because I really want to give a lot of opportunities for talents who are PGM, especially Asian API talents. I really want to see more of people like me and you in a project and thriving, because I feel like the only thing we see is either K-drama or anything that isn't in America over in Asia. That's where we can see people that look like us or resembles us, if that makes any sense. So if I may announce something on your podcast.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm currently working on a project with my brother. It's his first project, and I'm excited to announce that I will be designing the characters and helping him with like story and shaping everything. And this will be another slice of life story. And I'm excited to play a little character that's a bit more feisty, a more feisty character. And a lot of the cast members are going to be Asian API talent, and hopefully we could have some other PGM talent along in there. And I'm just so excited. But yeah, that's something I'm currently working on. I always have something cooking after one project is over. So I guess it's like a never ending cycle of creativity for me.
That's perfect. And I'm looking forward to that. And for anyone who's listening or watching this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to Valerie's content. Again, all the information's in the description of the show notes and the YouTube video and whatnot. But as we close here, Valerie, again, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I had absolute fun, and I had so much joy talking with you. And I can't wait to have you back on. So thank you guys for listening, and make sure to again follow Valerie on her journey as well. And thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a great day. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. If you have any guest recommendations, comments, questions, concerns, or criticism, you can email me at rickyvang92@gmail.com or message me online on any of my social media platforms.